But just watch. Just watch the Cowboys' right side of their defensive line and the Saints' left side of their offensive line. Like, they're not like, just watch. Just watch the pushback. Like, there's a surge at first, and then it's like, well, nah, not so much. Surge. Ooh. Like, look. Jamal Williams is at that blue line, is the line of scrimmage. He is at the line of scrimmage. Nobody's touching him. He is at the line of scrimmage. He started 6-7 yards back. He's at the line of scrimmage. No one is touching him. And guess what? Who is this? Damone Clark? You're not in a position to touch him.
All right, Cowboys fans, it's week 3 now. We lost in week 2. Let's keep things in perspective because I know y'all probably need to hear that, especially amidst all the chaos that we're going to have to endure for the remainder of this week. This is our reality check. This is where I come to you without emotion, with an objective lens, and tell you exactly what it is that we saw against the New Orleans Saints, why we lost, assign blame where it should be, and then we move on. We are not going to make every single loss of this NFL season turn out to be a manhunt afterwards. We are not going to make every single loss of this NFL season make it seem like we're sounding the alarms for World War III starting. We lost in week 2 of an NFL season to a team that our team wasn't prepared for. And there's reason for that. Let's get right into this, as too many people are jumping off the ledge or scooting close to the ledge, and there's no need for that right now. Let's get right into it. But before we do, be sure to check out betus.com so you can bet with America's favorite sports book. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this segment. BetUS has a 150% first-time deposit bonus special currently running by using the promo code YouTube150 when you sign up for BetUS. You can do this for up to $2,000, experience some of the fastest payouts in the industry, and bet on games in the largest variety of ways that you will find across sports books. Whether it's an over-under, money lines, parlays, whatever you want to do, you can do that on BetUS. And be sure to check out BetUS so you can get your bets in for week 3 of the Dallas Cowboys against the Baltimore Ravens. So again, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. Now let's get right into our reality check. So the Cowboys lost to the New Orleans Saints 44-19. Now, we had all the drama and theatrics on yesterday's instant reaction video, but today we're coming with our sports analyst hat on. Today we're coming with our Cowboy commentator hat on, and I'm going to try to calmly explain to you all what happened. What happened was Clint Kubiak accidentally went live when he didn't know he was going live on Instagram, and the whole world had an opportunity to hear this man beating the cakes of the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, they didn't just hear it. They saw Clint Kubiak beating the cakes off the Dallas Cowboys. They used play action on 59% of their plays because Alvin Kamara was absolutely tearing us a new one, and he only rushed for 20 times for over 115 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns on the ground. Anytime the running game has that type of success, then play actions probably are going to work. Carr used play action on 9 of his only 17 dropbacks. Y'all keep that in perspective as well. The man only had to drop back 17 times to put 44 points up on this Cowboys defense. And that's without the special team scoring. That's without the offense giving up a pick 6 or anything else like that. The defense itself gave up 44 points on 17 dropbacks, bro. He completed 6 of those 9 play action passes for 148 yards with a touchdown and an interception. And an interception was really luck because Chris Olave just had butterfingers, ball slipped off his hand, and Donovan Wilson just got gifted one essentially. The Cowboys defense really came in and let Derek Carr go 11 for 16 for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That is absolutely insane. Needless to say, Clint Kubiak absolutely busted our behinds. They ran motion on like 74% of their plays. That right there is the Dallas Cowboys' Achilles heel. That right there is the signature within those Shanahan coaching trees that these defensive players, now at this point, we can't keep blaming the coaches. We got to look at the players now. The players on our team, the players in this system, for some reason have an issue with motion. This team, this defense has just been ill-equipped to handle teams that run a high percentage of motion pretty much for the last half decade, it feels like. I don't know what it is about motion that completely throws our team off to where they're not prepared for it, but they're not prepared for it, y'all. Now, let's bring it back a little bit and let's do a little bit of meta-analysis right here, right? This is what we have to look at. The Saints offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, has only had one job previously, and that was offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings in 2021. This year, he has had his team hang 50 in the first 2 games of the season, essentially. I think one game was like 44 and the other one was like 48 or something. So I'm calling it 50. He done hung 50 on the first 2 games of the season. And this is someone that comes from that Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. Now, I'm going to say this, and I need y'all to actually think about what I'm saying right here because this is legitimate stuff. Anytime you have one of these offensive coordinators that is supposed to be like a boy wonder, they're supposed to be like an offensive whiz kid, like a genius. Think about what we saw from the Houston Texans offense to start the season off last year in Bobby Slowick's first year as an offensive coordinator for that team. That team experienced a large scoring boost and a large amount of success on offense to the point to where it surprised the entire league. Think about Sean McVay in his first season with the Los Angeles Rams. Think about the offenses of that team. Think about these teams that have these boy wonder offensive coordinators that are offensive coordinators or head coaches for the first time in their career. What happens? Teams have no clue what the hell they're going to be running. Teams don't know what to game plan against. In fact, that is probably one of the most difficult positions to be in as a coach, is to game plan against another coach in which you have no footage, no film, nothing to actually refer to as to what they do. The Cowboys had the misfortune of having to play against Clint Kubiak in his second game as an offensive coordinator for New Orleans Saints when his offenses haven't been seen on the field since 2021. And he only had 1 year with the Minnesota Vikings that year. And it's kind of hard to go back 3 years ago and think that a guy's going to come out and run exactly the same thing. So why would you game plan completely against that particular offense that he called for the Vikings, right? So what do you have to work with? You have a week 1 game against the Carolina Panthers to give you an idea as to what this guy is going to do. Other than that, you're game planning against the base scheme of that concept. That's essentially what you're game planning against. You know that Clint Kubiak is running a West Coast offense. So, as a coach, the only thing that you can really do, and not really a West Coast offense, like an offense with West Coast concepts, right? So as a coach, the only thing you can really do is game plan against a default or a base West Coast scheme. That's all you can game plan against, y'all. So I'm just going to say that we do have to look at everything, all the different layers, all the different variables involved. By no means am I giving the defense a pass at all, because 44 points is absolutely embarrassing. It's ridiculous, and it was too reminiscent of the Green Bay Packers game. And Dan Quinn ain't here no more. So, yeah, I'm not giving him a pass for that at all. But I am, as someone that's taking my fan hat off and looking at this objectively to see what could have happened, I am looking at the fact that they didn't really understand what the hell the Saints were going to be coming out to do. If you look at the tape already, or a little bit of the clips that are floating around right now, you can clearly see the defense just did a terrible job of their run fits. They did a terrible job of playing the run. They did a terrible job of playing with a level of physicality that was needed to combat this New Orleans Saints team. They were getting knocked off the ball. You have people like Jesse Holley cataloging this, saying the first play of the game, Mozzie Smith got blocked 5 yards off the ball. Eric Kendricks got blocked 10 yards off the ball. The second play of the game, all the linebackers fell for the banana in the tailpipe and bit the fake, and your defensive tackle got dirted on a block. Des Bryant is saying, I wasn't going to say nothing, but I can't help it. I put the blame on Coach Zim's defensive game plan. 432 total yards on the Dallas Cowboys defense. That's crazy. Coach Zim not playing to the player's strengths, and it's easy to tell. Cowboys defense is at its best whenever they are manning guys up. Running cover 4, cover 3, and sending no pressure against speed wide receivers will be a disaster every time. Not only that, but where was DeMarvion Overshown? Why was he playing so sparingly in his game? At no point should Damone Clark be getting snaps over DeMarvion Overshown. Call up Dalvin Cook. It's time to use Dalvin Cook in the run game. We can already see the running backs that we currently have. They're not going to give us much, y'all. They're not going to give us much. If you look at the production that we got out of our running game in this particular game, it was pretty putrid. Our leading rusher was Rico Dowdle with 30 yards, then Ezekiel Elliott with 16, and then Dak with 12. Guys, we have no running game. It was non-existent. And for those of y'all out there that are wanting to blame this game on the quarterback and the offense, y'all need to seriously take a step back and reconsider how you're watching the game of football. And the reason I say that is because it's absolutely ridiculous to look at the offense in any way. I don't care if they missed a throw here or missed a play there. There's no game in the NFL you're going to see where the offense makes every play that they're supposed to make, where the quarterback hits every single throw that they're supposed to make. There is margin for error in the NFL. There's margin for error in organized team sports. There is no such thing as perfection. Yes, you want to practice towards perfection, but there is no such thing as perfection. As I said yesterday, there's a reason that the league average completion percentage is 60%, because 40% of the time you're going to miss a throw. You're going to miss a play. The defense is going to win a rep. That's what that shows, y'all, and that's what that is. You should never ever be expecting your offense or your defense to have to play perfectly to win a game. If that is the case, that means one side of the ball or one phase of your team is playing so dramatically terrible that you have no other hope in that game but to hope that the other side of your ball can play so unbelievably great that it's almost impossible to balance out that scale. It should never be like that. It's called complementary football for a reason. Your defense should be a net positive. Your offense should be a net positive. You can't have your offense being a net positive and your defense being a clear negative and think that that's going to work out in your favor, especially when the negativity that the defense is bringing is greater than that of the positivity of the offense. And regardless of what y'all say, even if the Cowboys would have scored a touchdown on every single drive, they still would have lost this game. Think about that. If the Cowboys scored a touchdown on every single drive they had the ball, they still would have lost this game because of what the Saints did. And the Saints let off the gas really in the fourth quarter. Think about that. We could have scored 45. The Saints probably would have had a 60. The defense could not stop the Saints. The defense had no answers. The defense had completely given up at this point. It's very clear to see what happened in week 2 for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we have to hope that they come back. They play the correct personnel on that field. The Marvion Overshown should be playing much more than Damone Clark. Dalvin Cook needs to be getting snaps over a guy like a Rico Dowdle or even an Ezekiel Elliott. Period. Ryan Flanoy needs to be activated. Jalen Brooks needs to be deactivated. I'm sorry. I hate to cut the heads off of these guys, but Jalen Brooks had too many moments in that game yesterday that were just so detrimental. And this team at this time doesn't have time to wait for guys like that to get their stuff together. Missing that block on that jet sweep for Brandon Cooks was pivotal. That was a touchdown. Missing and slipping on the top of his route and getting an interception at the time where he did was pivotal. That was a moment the offense could have kept us attached a little bit longer than what they did. And for those of y'all out there looking at Dak, y'all are crazy, bruh. Dak and CeeDee Lamb did everything in their power yesterday to try to keep this team attached for as long as they humanly possibly could. They did everything in their power to keep the game close so that the defense could finally wake up and allow them to actually get back in the game. The game got down to 21-13, and what happened after that? The defense gave up another 7 points, 28-13. What happened after that? Jalen Brooks slips on his route, 28-13, and now the Saints have the ball back. So we can't look at the offense. The offense, by no way, this is not their fault. I do not care what y'all say. I don't care what your low IQ is trying to scream to you on your shoulder. This is not the offense's fault. The defense at some point has to give the offense a chance to compete. Think about this. Had the defense held the Saints from scoring a few of those times, that would have given the offense more possessions. If you actually look at it, the offense was trading scores with the Saints. This is all you can ask for out of your offense. Field goals or touchdowns, it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear that crap in the comments either. Oh, it's been 2 games and they only got 3 touchdowns. Y'all said the same thing last year, the year before that, and probably the year before that. And what ends up happening at the end of the year, the Cowboys are one of the highest scoring teams and one of the most efficient red zone scoring teams in the entire league, just like they were last season. Give these teams a chance to get going. I said it last week. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm not expecting to see the offense get clicking until week 3 or week 4, to be completely honest. Because that's what happens when you don't play any preseason. We don't have any real-time snaps since the Green Bay game, essentially. That first team offense hadn't had any real-time snaps. That is what's going to happen. But also, it's very clear now. We need another wide receiver. We need Dalvin Cook to be an actual stud, or we need another running back. The offense needs more weapons because it's just CeeDee Lamb and Dak out there, especially with Jake Ferguson hurt. It showed more than ever. It's just CeeDee Lamb and Dak out there. And that's not going to be enough if your defense is going to have you in shootouts too consistently. This team does not have the personnel and it does not have the scheme to participate in shootouts. Only time we can participate in the shootout is if it's something like the Seattle Seahawks last year and Dak carries us on his back to help us participate in the shootout and actually win the game. That's the only time. But as far as personnel goes, as far as the way that this team is schemed, this team is not built to be in a 40-point shootout. It's not. So if you're ever expecting the offense to have to score 45 points to beat a team that just scored 44 points in your defense, then we're going to be up Shit's Creek more times than not. And that's just keeping it real. That's reality, y'all. The reality of this Dallas Cowboys team. Until they show otherwise, and we're going to learn a lot about this team over the next month and a half. But until they show otherwise, the reality of this Dallas Cowboys team is they're probably going to win 10, 11, 12 games this season. They're going to make it to the playoffs. They probably are actually going to win a playoff game this season. I think they're probably going to win their wild card matchup. And then who knows what happens after that. More than likely, based off of what we just saw, they're probably going to get beat in the next round because this team is not equipped yet. It's just not equipped yet to go any further than that. Until I see otherwise, until I see dudes start taking the leap, that's the reality of what we're looking at with this Cowboys team. They're probably going to be a fringe playoff team. They're going to make the playoffs with double-digit wins. We're probably going to see them win a playoff game, and then it might be more of the same because, again, the offense doesn't have enough weapons, and the defense we're still missing defensive tackles, and we're still missing guys that understand how to play the run. But until that stuff is fixed, and again, like I said, we play the Ravens, the Lions, the 49ers, the Texans. We play all these teams over the course of the next month or two. We're going to see exactly what this Dallas Cowboys team is. We don't have to speculate. We don't have to guess. We don't have to wait. We don't have to wonder. We have the Ravens coming into town next week. They're 0-2. They're going to be playing with fire on their heads. And the Cowboys are going to have to be ready for the physicality the Ravens are going to bring. And we're going to get to see very, very quickly, are the Cowboys different or are we the same old Cowboys? Till next time.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.